Hello, Brad.
Chris, so I've been kind of, roaming around the internet looking for story ideas, and I stumbled on this.
Okay.
The big, beautiful bill that the president signed into law on July 4th is creating a battle for discovery. When I say discovery, I'm not talking about discovery as in a legal case or scientific discovery. I'm talking about the space shuttle discovery.
Okay.
So here's the deal. There were only ever 6 shuttles, okay?
Correct.
The Enterprise, which never flew into space. Challenger,
We know what happened to that. Yep.
Okay, Columbia, burnt up on reentry. So there's really only 3 shuttles that remain that have flown into space, one of which is the Discovery. And it currently resides at the Smithsonian Institution. It's at the National Air and Space Museum. It's been there since 2012. NASA donated it to the Smithsonian.
Okay.
So tucked inside this big, beautiful bill is an $85 million allotment to relocate the Space Shuttle Discovery, okay?
Seems like a lot of money to move it.
It does, especially since, it seems to be at the place where it should be, the National Air and Space Museum, but they want it moved from there to NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston.
Okay.
So a couple of questions. First of all, who wants to move it, okay? Senator John Cornyn of Texas, followed by Senator Ted Cruz of Texas. Senator Cornyn's office says, quote, "It's long overdue for Space City," referring to Houston, to receive the recognition it deserves by bringing the Space Shuttle Discovery back to NASA's headquarters in Houston.
Okay.
So that's one argument. However, the Smithsonian has something to say about it. They sent a message to Congress saying, quote, that the museum maintains full ownership of the orbiter, which, again, it was donated by NASA in 2012.
Okay.
So we don't know how this is going to play out. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out, but there is a big problem. Well, there's many big problems.
I was going to say there's several.
Yeah, but if it goes back to Houston, the big problem is, how will it get there?
I was going to ask you about the 747.
Well, you may remember the orbiters typically would land at Edwards Air Force Base in California, and then they'd be flown back to Florida so they could be relaunched. They had 2 Boeing 747s that were equipped so that they could put the shuttle on it, and it flew piggyback back to Florida. Those 2 747s are no longer in service, so you're not going to be able to fly at 1,200 miles back to Houston. So it's going to have to be transported by land. Then you risk tying up traffic. And what else? The shuttle's big. It could cost up to $300 million just to move it. So
I'm not good at math, but 85 million and 300 million are very far apart.
There is a disparity, Chris. So we'll wait and see how that one plays out. Okay. And I have some good space news, though.
Oh.
This guy, does he look familiar? He should. We've done a couple of stories on him. Jared Isaacman. He's a tech billionaire, a jet pilot, civilian astronaut. He's gone to space 2 times on SpaceX, a 1-time nominee for NASA administrator until President Trump pulled the plug on that very abruptly. But here's the big news with Jared. He just donated $15 million to the U.S. Space and Rocket Center to help develop space camp facilities. This is on top of a previous $10 million donation just a couple of years ago. And you know why he's doing it, not just because he's a civilian astronaut, he loves space. When he was 12 years old, he went to space camp, and he totally credits it for not just his interest in space, but his success as well as a businessman. So some good space news.
There you go. Well, maybe if he keeps going, we might be able to move that space shuttle after all.
Maybe.
All right, Brad, thanks so much. We'll see you tomorrow.